when things get tough, you can quit. I've got a college degree, I can go back to school. It got tough, but I loved it enough to figure it out.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
Welcome to Her Journey, presented by Kudzukian Media Group.
We believe Her Journey will encourage young women and help them see that life is a journey.
You have to continue to walk in your purpose.
We cannot control how other people respond to us.
As long as you have breath in your body, story does not end. Every day that God grants you, you have an opportunity to rewrite your story.
We believe Her Journey will encourage young women and help them see that life is a journey. Watch Her Journey, hosted by me, Joy Doss, brought to you by the Kudzukian Media Group and proudly sponsored by Nike, Black Community Commitment.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Her Journey. My name is Joy Doss and I'm your host for Her Journey. And I am talking to some of the most successful and phenomenal women in Memphis, Tennessee. That is right here in our own backyard. This is our contribution to the solution. We are showing young girls and young women the many, many paths to success and the many, many faces of success. There is not just one way to skin a cat. There's so many ways and looks of success, and we're showing that to you here. Today's guest is no different, Miss Terran Gary. She is the founder of what you know as Subroy, but what has been rebranded to Grindhouse Dance. So it was formerly Subroy Studios. Wonderful dancers, and she's also the manager of the Grizz Girls. So all those cool routines, she's the one behind that. So let's welcome our phenomenal woman of the day, Miss Terran Gary.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Terran. I mean, it's really cool, though. We definitely want to, this is a different path. Like, this is not the traditional path.
No.
So I guess let's start out with what's your why?
Dance made me happy as a kid. I grew up with my grandparents and their older friends and great aunts and great uncles. I did not have many kids in my everyday life aside from school and neighbors. And my conversation was a lot different from my peers because I was always around old people. And, kids want older people's attention. And in order to get it, I had to speak their language.
Yeah.
So when it was time for me to speak with my peers, they didn't understand what I was saying or how I was saying it. So dance became a communicative tool for me with my peers, and it just so happened that I was good at it, and it allowed me to fit in, so to speak. And it continued to grow and evolve from a feel-good to the ability to communicate with my peers.
They call me the old kid. Some of my neighborhood friends call me the old kid. Because I was the same way. Yeah, I was totally. Because your, like you said, your speech is totally different. The way you come, your expectations
and your thought process
people are different. Yeah, it's totally different. But tell me more about this. Like, what is it? You said it made you happy, and talk a little bit more about that.
We all have our own personal traumas.
Sure.
And being raised by your grandparents is an emergency measure.
Of course.
My parents had split. They were young. My father was in town, but he was young and in town and doing his own thing.
Sure.
My mother, once they split up, they didn't divorce immediately, but they split up and she moved back to her hometown, which was New Jersey. So being a young girl who had your first 3 or 4 years with your mom, your young mom, who was really jazzy and beautiful and partied and danced and dressed well, and then you're kind of in this place with these old people and your mom is gone, and that I was a sad kid for a lot of time, you know what I mean? So that was what dance brought for me. It was therapeutic in that way that it allowed me once again to communicate with my peers and allowed me to kind of escape the realness of, the sad thing that I was personally going through.
But guess what?
Out having my mom.
Your mom is not gone. Because look at you.
No.
You jazzy, you dance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She definitely, imprinted on me for sure.
She did in a short amount of time. She really did. So obviously you carry some of that with you, like some of those great things with you. So
yeah. She's pretty cool. She was a singer. And she was pursuing a singing career at the time. So they were just young and doing their own thing. And I was just one of those kids that ended up with the grandparents.
Yeah. I mean, grandparents have such a huge impact, though, sometimes, especially once your parents divorce or split up or whatever. Huge impact. My grandparents, too. So, as I said, I was kids also. But what is it like? You started teaching dance at 13.
13.
So what is it
That's how
like?
happy it made me. Like, it's a really, really cool story, and I tell it often. I went to a small Catholic school in South Memphis, St. Augustine, which is also known as Father Bertrand. Really popular in the African-American community, especially South Memphis. We partnered with a school in Nashville, and we also partnered with another school in Holly Springs, and those were our big travel schools. And the school in Nashville, every other school year, they would either come to Memphis or we would go to Nashville. And each year we went to Holly Springs and they came to Memphis because the proximity was, not as challenging. But one day we went to the school in Holly Springs. I was 7th grade, and it's a small Catholic school. Everybody played every sport. The girls cheered at the boys' basketball games, and played basketball at the girls' basketball games. So we went every sport day. You got 2 uniforms. You're playing basketball for the girls' game, and then you got your cheerleader uniform to change into for the boys' game. Like we had a great time, and I would suggest that small school, church school upbringing for anybody who has the opportunity. But what we did not know is while our older church members who were going to Memphis Catholic High School were coaching us, the girls at the school in Holly Springs, which at the time was called Cadet, it goes by Holy Family now, but they were being coached by then Memphis State Palm Girls. We didn't know that. Though. Yeah, that was 9-time national champions back then. And they're still
they
championship
coached us too at Central.
Well, they were not coaching us at St. Augustine. And it was during the time of MC Hammer. I mean, I've told this story so many times, but it's really what happened. It was the eureka moment, like, So we go to Holly Springs. Girls' game has played. We've played basketball. It's halftime of the boys' game. And they turn out the lights in the gym.
Oh.
And they come out of this little room and flick the lights on, and they're dancing to Too Legit, and they're doing
Showtime.
Oh man, they're doing the Too Legit. They have this intro. When I tell you they made us and some lovely church member made cheerleader uniforms. They made us look so bad. And I don't think anybody was more humiliated than me. By that time, I knew I loved dance, and I knew that I loved all things movement juxtaposed to music. You know what I mean? I knew that I loved it. And I knew that we did not do as good of a job as them. And I knew that they had shamed us. And I was over it, and the whole ride from Holly Springs back to South Memphis was never again. Never again.
So you just took over?
I took over the cheerleader squad. I told the teacher, I was like, I got it.
Okay.
And when I say I took over from making uniforms to... When I look back on it, I'm like, I wonder what my grandparents were thinking. It's like I was obsessed for sure. You know what I mean? But I took over making the uniforms, choreographing the routines, mixing the music. It was insane. And by the time the team from Nashville got here, we had a standing ovation at our halftime.
Right and tight.
It was right and tight. And
I love that.
We danced to R. Kelly vibe, and we had a great time.
Okay.
And everybody was like, okay, she did it. And that was 8th grade. And the school went up to 8th grade. I went to Memphis Catholic High School, 9th grade. The principal had gone to college with my grandparents at Tennessee State University. So all I had to do was go ask her, like, hey, the teacher can keep the cheerleader team. Can I start a dance team? She was like, sure, do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
And my freshman year in high school, I started a dance team at the school that I had graduated 8th grade from. and just literally kept going from there. The school closed. A lot of the Jubilee schools with the Catholic diocese closed, which would be my junior year in high school. But we kept the team going. And at the time, my father was getting his master's in education, and that he and his classmates were graduating. And one of his classmates was she had gotten to school, and one of the things that she wanted to do as a teacher was start a dance team at Sharp Elementary School.
Okay.
And, she'd become friends with my father as a classmate. And of course, he was bragging on me. And she was like, well, I'm going to hire her. And that was my first paid situation. So the whole situation at St. Augustine, I was not being paid for that. But I was still doing it. I was doing it on the level to get paid.
It prepared you for the next
It definitely prepared me. But the
divine
first
alignment.
paid, absolutely.
Yeah.
At the small Catholic school in South Memphis.
Yeah. So we're going to go to break. That went really quickly, right? So we're going to go to break. But before we do, I want to ask you a question to think about, and you can answer it when we come back. And that is, when did you know your path as a Black woman, or your journey as a Black woman, was going to be different than everybody else's? So we'll be right back with questions that need answers with Terran Gary from the Grizz Girls and from the Grindhouse Dance Company. This is her journey. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.